what's been hiding inside of you, the authentic you. All the potential you have inside wants to arrive. The world is waiting for your release to expand your wings and fly. Arise and know this is your finest hour. Yeah. Conquering those doubts that pull you down, knowing you will rise. Yes, you will stand. So rise up and be the best leader you can be. Good morning, leaders.
Good morning.
I'm Mary Seegers, and I'm here from the United States of America, and I bring greetings from the great state of Michigan. I would like to thank the Tomorrow people for this venue. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I would love to thank my best friend now, Tanya, for your leadership. It is because of you that I'm here. So let's give it up for Tanya. So leaders, I'm talking to leaders this morning. I want to share with you the 4 stages of how to wake up the leader within you. Of course, I'm using this as a metaphor because we're all awake this morning, right?
That's right.
But I'm a realist, and I know that life will have us become dull in our senses, or sometimes we're unaware of that inner power and potential that's within us. And perhaps it might take a crisis to wake us up, to get a wake-up call. But you know what, though? That inner strength will take us through that crisis. And when it's over, we'll step back and say, wow, I am stronger than I thought I was. Yes. I am greater than I thought I was. Yes. So arise, let me tell you about the 4th stage. Arise is the 1st stage. And this is where you're going to discover or rediscover yourself. And maybe you have to reinvent yourself. So discovery is, arise is the 1st stage. The 2nd stage is what I call alert. Now when you hear alert, it's like attention, attention. That means I have to have a different mindset about who I am and declare who I am. The 3rd stage is what I call adapt. Now this 3rd stage is where we're going to roll up your sleeves and you'll get busy working on you. You're going to learn how to develop yourself and new skills if necessary. You're going to be able to grow and you're going to be able to get out of that comfort zone. Say comfort zone. Comfort zone. We know how to do stuff in the comfort zone. You can do it in your sleep. You can do it with your eyes closed. But in order to get to that next level, you need to stretch yourself, stretch your goals so that you can get out of that comfort zone. So that's the adapt stage. And then lastly, the 4th stage is simply become. Become the person. Become the leader you were created to be. We are wide awake, but sometimes our eyes are shut. Sometimes our mind is closed to the full potential and the inner strength we have inside of us. In my book, Wake Up the Leader Within You, it is, I tell most of us, and I tell myself this too, and sometimes we're clueless of our worth and our value. So it's like a wake-up call. Wake up and smell the coffee. You are greater than you think you are. And you got to know it like you know your name.
Yes.
Yes. Excuse my backside. These are the 4 stages. I'll just start with that. And that's the 1st stage, which I call arise and discover. So often we are concerned about what's wrong with us rather than concerned about what's wonderful and awesome about us. Marcus Forbes put it this way. Too many people overvalue what they are not and undervalue what they are. That should not be. We have got to learn to know that we are greater than we think we are. We are stronger than what we think we are. So to arise, that is discovering about who you really are. And our authentic selves are being revealed and ascended to higher thinking about ourselves. Let me explain it this way. It's just like that onion. You're peeling the peels back to find the core essence of who you are. Taking the peels, layering it off. Because in our childhood up until now, People have told us things, and we believe them. And so we gotta peel off. And sometimes peeling is painful. It's like growing pains. But the more you peel, the more you reveal, the more you become your true essence self. So let's talk about the first stage. According to the dictionary, arise is a verb. It's an action. In order to arise, you have to do something. And so this is a time you have to maybe rediscover yourself or reinvent yourself or discover your true self. And that may take a while. I know people 50 and 60 years old do not know who they are. Right. So you have to learn how to discover your true self. And this stage here, the first stage, is so crucial. You know why? Because it's the fundamental foundation for the other stages to be established. Yeah. So we need this first round very carefully. I like to tell my clients, and I tell myself, no more sleepwalking in life. We must be totally awake to do the great work that we have before us. No more sleepwalking. And it's an ironic story. When I was a child, I used to sleepwalk. My mother had to lock the door, make sure Mary would walk out into the street. That's another story for another time. Being a leader is not always easy. Sometimes you have to stand alone. You have to be firm, you have to be tough, put your big girl's panties on. Yeah. And not only that, it's decisions that we make as a leader sometimes can impact another person's livelihood. So it's not easy being a leader. It's not easy being a mother. Am I right about it? Yes. Amen. You know what? Life isn't easy. But we don't give up. We don't throw in the towel. We pull ourselves up. We dig deep within ourselves, and we're going to stand. We're going to do this thing. We're going to accomplish every goal that we set. So don't worry about being a leader. You have to stand strong. You can do it. As I mentioned in my opening point, to arise and shine bright. You can't do it for me, and I can't do it for you. But it can be done, and it will be done. Yes. The second stage is what I call alert. And you see over there, I said mindset. This is so very important. A proverbial saying is so true. As a woman thinks, so is she. All right. It's so profound, and it's real. Because what we think is the very lifeline to our success. It's not what mama thought. It's not what your best friend thought. It's what you think about yourself. Yes. That's all that matters. Henry Ford puts it this way. Whether you think you can, or whether you think you can't, you're right. And it sounds so simple. It's too easy, but it's just that simple. What you think will make a difference in your life. First, we need to acknowledge that we are a leader. We're going to have a little morning aerobics this morning. Come on, stand up with me. Come on. You got your breakfast going on and settling your stomach. Stand on up. I want you to repeat after me. I am a winner.
I am a winner.
I am a champion.
I am a champion.
I am a leader.
I am a leader.
Sounds good. Okay, sit on down.
Yes.
And let me be clear here. Let me further clarify the definition I'm using of a leader by stating what it is not. A leader is not a title. Let's not get it twisted. Even though we hear titles such as CEO, president, vice president. I had one business card, she said she's a leisure expert. I don't know what that is. But whatever it is, don't get out. We know that some of those titles do represent leaders. I'm gonna give you a little secret. All of them do not. They're just that, a title. So this is my definition of a leader. A leader is a person who can lead others to accomplish a goal. Simple as that. And thus, leadership would be about the ability to motivate and inspire from a variety of backgrounds to a higher level of performance. I'll turn that back. Somebody want any comment back? So let me ask the question here. Why are leaders reluctant to acknowledge that they are a leader? And I can give you several reasons that I think that's possible. One thing is fear. You might have heard fear defined as false evidence appearing real. But even besides that, what about fear of success? We want to be successful. People are fearful of success. You know why? Because they have a poverty mentality or mental mindset. I couldn't do that. And I grew up in the projects. So what? Yeah. Keep it moving. You can do it. Right. So fear of the unknown. Fear of fear itself. And let me share this with you. Because you are a leader, because you are a female, fear is not going to disappear. Fear is always with us. I remember many years ago, my mentor said, Mary, when fear comes, my mentor didn't say if fear comes, he said when fear comes. And whatever you have planned to do, do it anyway. He said, what's the worst thing that can happen? Either you're going to win or you're going to learn, but you never lose. Because you conquered your fears. Don't let fears run you away. You conquer your fears. Another reason is previous mistakes can cause a person to linger in the past. You ever noticed that? Guess what? As long as we live, we will make mistakes. What? I'm going to make a mistake? Yes. It's not that serious. Learn from it and keep moving forward. But I know people are stuck in the past because they've done something. You're still living right, you still have breath in your body. You can make that thing and make a change in that. I always tell my clients, do not camp at your successes and do not camp at your failures. You're always moving forward. You have a moving target. You're always going towards your goals and new goals. So don't let previous mistakes hinder you. And the third thing says listening to others rather than tuning into your own voice. I was so appreciative when you talked about our voice yesterday. But in my first book, it was called Power Talks. Power Talk begins with power thought. And I remind leaders that we have to shut down the outside chatter from other people. Even with good intentions, it could be your parents, it could be your loved ones. We have to shut that out, that outside chatter, and tune into your own voice about you. Yeah. Who knows you better than you? And so self-talk is real, but it's what are we saying to ourselves? We should be speaking truth, love, encouragement to ourselves. Don't depend on your spouse to do it for you. Don't expect mom and dad to do it. You have to do this for yourself. We alone can write our script for our lives. Do you want to change? You have to start with changing your thinking. My girlfriend calls it thinking. It's not good for anyone, right? And as females, we are quick to offer genuine compliments and accolades to others. I've seen that this weekend. Girl, that's sharp. I love that. And it's genuine. But we're so critical of ourselves. We are our own worst critics. I think one of the speakers said that this week. So don't do that, okay? So the alert stage is one, we gotta remove all negativity in our lives because it deals with our mindset. You know, I said, be careful what you say to yourself. You are always listening. A couple years ago, I did a seminar, and I asked a volunteer from out of the audience to come up and share one goal that she wanted to share with the group. And she was so excited, and she had all the, happy face and all that. And so I told her something negative. And you just saw her smile into her whole demeanor change. One negativity word. And then I had 12 people line up and give her more affirmative, positive word. Girl, you can do it. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do all things. And so if I had a 7th or 8th positive affirmation, it finally removed that one negative. Don't speak negativity in your life at all. I think I should check somebody here in the car. Don't say that. Don't say that. Why? Because out of our mouths we can speak either life or we can speak death and doom. So be careful what you say. We're always listening. I always want to say too, females, we are such caregivers, and also we're nurturers, and we neglect to take care of ourselves. Is that true? Yes. We need to have self-care and self-love, and those are not selfish acts. In fact, it's healthy. In fact, I'll put a disclaimer out here when I just made that statement. I'm not advocating arrogancy or pompous behavior. I'm saying that if we are commanded to love ourselves. Oh, really? Yes, the Bible tells us, love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's not a suggestion. That's not a recommendation. That is a commandment to love yourself. Do you love yourself?
Yes.
Tell me that you love yourself. All right? That's some good loving in here. Okay. The next stage is adapt. You notice that stage is the biggest stage. I was trying to show the proportion-wise. And you see I put next to it attitude. The second one was mindset. The third one is attitude. And in the adapt stage, this is where rubber meets the road. You're going to roll your sleeves up and you're going to get busy working on yourself. I encourage you to invest in yourself. It may require that you have to hire a professional coach or get a mentor. I'm a coach, a certified coach. I have a coach. Why? Because I want to continue to better myself. I want to be the best person I can be. So you have to realize that in the adult. Let me ask you a question. Have anyone ever said to you, you're so bossy? Have you ever had that kind of attitude? You know what they were really saying to you and I? You are a leader. You are. They didn't know how to say it because I never had somebody tell me what to do and how to do it. And I'm happy to do it. And I'm happy to do it. So what they're really saying is that you are a leader. However, we can learn to turn that negative connotation, you so bossy, into a more positive approach by being more sensitive to other needs. This is a skill that can be developed. That's a behavior that can be learned. That's a learned behavior. And that's why I'm a firm believer that you are not an island to yourself, I'm not an island to myself. I need you, you need me. And when we help one another, when I help you, I'm helping myself. So in that stage there, I was trying to make it bigger. This is where you're really going to learn yourself. And that peeling is just getting to be better. In my book, I listed several competencies of leadership, and I'll go over a few here. Because in that adapt, let me go back to the adapt. In that adapt stage, you are really going to learn how you're going to get out of that comfort zone. I talked about it briefly. You know, what a comfort zone will do, it'll put you in bondage, really. Because I say you can do things with your eyes closed. And I relate that to comfort food. I think my sister was talking about she liked pie, she'll eat the whole pie. Why is the food like that called comfort? But you know, there's consequences to a comfort food. Your hips start spreading a little more. You look at your backside. Where did that come from? You know, your thighs getting thunder thighs. So there's a consequence for being in the comfort zone. You bounce over here and it's right back in your comfort zone. You need to get to the next level. You have to go beyond your comfort zone. That's how you grow. That's how you develop. That's how you learn. So in that adapt stage, I said, invest in yourself, hire a professional coach. Could be one thing. So you develop and grow. Okay, I'll talk about this now. No. In my book, I've talked about leadership competencies. This is where you learn that adapt stage. And I'll list a few here. You need to have high self-confidence in one's ability and capabilities. If you don't believe in yourself, who will? So you gotta make sure you set that stage, that you know what you're talking about. Integrity is a must to be a reliable leader. That person needs to be transparent, open, and honest. And unashamed, I might add. I could also add vulnerability, because that shows your team, your follower, your tribe, that you are a human and you're not superhuman. So they look up to you, you feel like I feel. You know my pain, you can express my pain. Another thing, you have to be decisive. Make a decision. Make a decision. And then you want to develop other leaders as well. I know when I was in the corporate world for 30 years, I was always preparing my team members to replace me so that I could go to the next assignment. I always think about that future. I always think about that next level of assignment for you. A study was conducted on female entrepreneurs about self-acceptance, and this is what this is. So you want to grow and develop, and self-acceptance is so vital. Celebrate your strong points. Celebrate your attributes. You know, so many times we love to celebrate somebody else. Celebrate yourself. You know, take a trip to Bangkok. Celebrate yourself. Forgive yourself. The Bible tells us to forgive 7 times 7. We're ready to give Uncle Bubba and Aunt Lucy, but we don't forgive ourselves. Forgive yourself and keep moving. Move forward. Move forward. And then, of course, be kind to yourself. You know, be kind. Sometimes we're more kinder to a pet than we are to ourselves. So be kind to yourself. Stretch out of your comfort zone with your safe. Self-talk yourself to victory. And that's, again, my first book, Power Talk. Begins with Power Walk. You do talk to yourself, but make sure you're talking the right things to yourself. In fact, self-talk yourself to victory is what I would recommend. And a quick comparison about a boss or a manager versus a leader. I won't go over that. You can see that a leader is more inclusive, where a manager is more not inclusive. The leader will give credit and encourages and develop people, where the manager uses people and always criticize. Somebody with a critical spirit, the underlying of that is that they have some insecurity issues. So it's not about you, it's about them. And then in the adept stage, you will learn more about your leadership style. You know, you will learn what makes you tick. How do you relate to people? And I always put it like this: be the leader you want to follow. Be the type of leader that you will follow. So if you know you like a person who's not going to be around your neck all the time, you want to be maybe a charismatic leader. What about a bully leader? Anybody know some bully leaders? And then you see what happens? Have some backbone. Be a leader, you got to have some backbone. Because people are going to always come against you, going to challenge your leadership, going to always buck up against you. You got to stand firm and say, you know what? This is it. I said it, it was going to happen. Yes. You know, and so you have to have some backbone. Yes. I can't stand boneless, backboneless person. And lastly, become. You know, our former First Lady, she had a book, I think it's #1, Becoming. And this is simply the 4 stages. Become the person you were created to be. But to become that, you have to always be teachable. You always have to be a learner. You always have to be willing to learn, grow. You have to be teachable. And you have to be ready to teach. You know, there's always people looking at you, so you need to make sure that you are ready to teach as well. So working with a coach, you can identify your style and how to polish your skill set so you can perform at your optimum performance. And with that, I did have one last thing. And stop trying to be a perfect leader. There's no perfect person at all. You know, there's some perfectionists. Get over it. Because, you know, we have to strive to be better than each time. Thank you for this. Listening to
Conceptually, I completely agree with self-affirmation, and one thing that you touched upon ever so briefly, you said it's hard to be a mother, and there are many mothers in this room, and I wondered what advice you might have about motherhood guilt and the guilt of being a mother. And the mothers in this room will know exactly what I'm talking about.
A great question. One thing, I have a mother of 2 adult daughters, and I have 2 grandchildren. And I never try to be their friend. You know, they're there, I'm the mother, you're the child, or the adult child. And when people try to put guilt on you, you know, a lot of times it's trying to place blame for something that they've done for me. Let me give you an example. My mother had me, she was late in age, and so I figured my mother had a lot of wisdom. And so she taught me things, you know. She said, it's not so much what people say about you, but what you say about yourself. I mean, even as a child. So I was able to accept what my mother was saying, but then at a certain age, I started, you know, that teenager, you don't want to, you don't like your mother anymore. Anybody been through that? You know? And so my mother just continued to be her same self. She never changed, just to my changes. And that kept that relationship. So I did that same with my children. You know, I'm not your friend. I'm here to instruct you, to lead you. So don't, it's what you take on. You know, people will put guilt onto you. You have to receive it. You know, And so you have to say, you know what, let's talk about it. You know, I have a different perspective about that. And having that communication, that dialogue will help as well. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, do we have another question? Yes.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to reaffirm what you said about like having your own coach, even though you're a coach. You know, I also work with a coach, and I think, and I wouldn't be here today at all if it wasn't for her, and I am a coach too.
Yeah.
And as women, I think we neglect sometimes that we need help, or when we want to ask for help, we see it sometimes somehow as a failure because we're so accustomed to helping others first. But the thing that my coach taught me, which was the most important lesson and so simple, when you're talking about compliments, like just start receiving your compliments.
Yes.
You know, and I noticed like if someone said, "Oh, I really like your dress," "Oh, you know, it was only, you know, $11."
Too much information, they don't even know.
Yeah, they're always just making these, but just starting to receive, like
Yes.
open and just say thank you.
Yes.
And you gave a great presentation, like thank you. It was really hard for me to just say thank you and not like, oh, I'm so tired or whatever. So doing that opens up that gateway to receiving more than you're asking for. But I wanted to ask you, like, what is your most important lesson that you've learned from working with someone else and asking for help, getting a mentor?
Great question. I've learned more about myself. You know, you think you know yourself, and having someone from the outside looking in can peel that onion even a little more. It's like, oh, I didn't realize that was me, but it helped me to grow. It helped me to be open to new ideas and suggestions about myself. So we do think we know ourselves, you know, and sometimes it's just, it really helped me to stand and to take it and to analyze it and to, you know, make sure that I'm walking in that area that can help improve me. So I'm always looking for continuous improvement. I want to be the best me that I can be. So that coach, and a coach, I tell you, you know, they have no interest in your feet. I mean, what I'm saying, they want to make sure that you're doing, they're not going to do the work for me. I have to do the work. And so it helped me to grow, it really did. So, yeah. Thank you, good question.
Yes, somebody question, you know, sometimes we are, as a leader, working.
Yeah.
Working.
Yeah.
Yeah, and working with our team, or my team, and you know, many of them, they did many mistakes. To be honest, they make me angry. Many times, so you teach them, you coach them, 1 and 2 and 3 and so many, it make me angry, to be honest. And how we can deal with this issue?
Thank you for that question. You know, if it's making you angry, it's not so much about them, it's about you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even though you teach someone, and people learn it different, you know, some people need to have hands-on, some, and it may take 10 times. You know, to us, it may take 1 time only. And I like to dance, and I would look at someone dance in the ballroom, for example, and I caught it on 1 time. And the person said, "How did you do that?" I don't know. That's just how I, you know. And it may take her 20 times in lessons and more money and more money, more money. But that's, people learn at different stages. And it's not about you so much, it's more about them. And if you just stop being angry and standing back and say, you know what, that person may need more extra care, that person may need more extra, attention, whatever it is, but don't get connected to the anger part, because that just frustrates the matter even more, you know what I'm saying? I mean, because she's not learning it anymore and you still frustrated, so it's nothing resolved, you know what I'm saying? So if you learn how to just take a step back and say, you know what, when I was 12, I was having the same issue. She might be 35 and she's just still having a learning, you know, it's not taking her as quick to learn as it would take for us. I'll give you an example. My grandson, I tell him how to do certain things. I just tell him, and he did it the way he thought I told him. Then when I showed it to him, like you said, and when I showed it to him, it was better, but it still wasn't right. And about the 5th or 6th time, I got this thing. He was able to do it. And let them learn on their own too. Sometimes we want to push them and let them learn the way we want them to learn. But if you let them learn by the mistakes, learn by their failure, get back up and learn again. Then they'll be able to say, I remember she was trying to tell me, now the light bulb went off, I got it. So don't rush people in their learning, you know, it's a learning curve. You ever know, it's a learning curve, not a learning slope, but the learning curve. Sometimes it takes different times for different people. But as far as your attitude, keep your attitude. They're still in the learning mode. They'll catch it one day. Okay? So you won't be upset and frustrated.
Alright, okay, this is what I hate. I know there's a lot of people who want to say things and I really don't like it when I interrupt, but.
Can I say this real
Yes,
quick?
of course.
It's anyone's birthday today. Oh my God.
We're gonna take a quick moment to say happy birthday.
And I'll autograph it for you. Dr. Stevens will autograph it. Happy birthday.